There's an old Russian story written by Leo Tolstoy in the late 1800s, which at first glance doesn't seem to apply to any of us in the slightest. We've got smartphones, AirPods, Apple Watches, iPads, laptops. So what could this long-dead philosophizer and novelist possibly say that would in any way affect our lives? Well, here's the thing. People don't change as much as we might think they do. Sure, our technology and our entertainment and our clothes look different, but we still play, grow, work, marry, reproduce, and die, much the same as Leo Tolstoy. So bear with me, because I think he's got something to say to us. In his little book, The Death of Ivan Ilyich, he tells the story of a young man, Ivan, who's popular with his peers and colleagues. He's successful in school and eventually his career. He's admired by many. He marries a woman of acceptable social rank. His parents, friends, and his boss are all impressed. He and his wife produce the very socially acceptable 2 children, a boy and a girl. They live in a beautiful home, reveling in the spoils of his high-paying law career. And we can just imagine the parties and the gambling nights they host for their very socially acceptable circle of friends. He's well-known, and it seems well-liked. But here's the catch, and where we might want to tune in. Ivan, in the prime of his life and at the top of his career, gets sick. It begins with this nagging pain in his side and soon leaves Ivan bedridden and terminal. His wife is annoyed. His children don't visit. His colleagues begin whispering about this new opportunity for promotion when he vacates his position. His friends won't come to keep him company because why would they when there won't be lavish dishes served? There is not going to be Ivan's money to gamble with. And Ivan is devastated and genuinely perplexed. And he essentially asks himself, didn't I do everything they told me to do? Didn't I make sure to be the best student, get the best job, marry someone people were impressed by, hang out with all the right people, send my children to the most impressive schools? Didn't I do it right? Didn't I follow the rules? And don't we all know what these rules are for us? The story we've been told. Don't we know the story that promises safety, success, acceptance, popularity, comfort, happiness? You see, Ivan is not dumb. He's not too trusting or too wicked or too selfish or whatever we might initially want to call him so that we can distance ourselves from this sorry tale. Ivan is us. Full stop and gut-wrenching truth. Ivan is us. He took the story he was told, he heard the promises of all the good things, and he committed his life to achieving them. And when I first heard this story, I tried my hardest not to care about Ivan, but I couldn't not because I read the end of the story. Ivan, alone on his deathbed, having been abandoned by all the people who claimed to love him, but were really just using him for his social clout, his money, his rank, surrounded instead by all the memories of his so-called achievement. And I could see how easy it would be to end up like that. Of course, I don't plan to die right now, and of course, we all have these ideas about how our lives are going to look when that time comes. Hopefully we'll be old, surrounded by children and grandchildren, having left this legacy of kindness. We want people to remember us well and to be sad that we're gone. But what if you died tomorrow? I know, gruesome, horrible thought, but stay with me for a moment. What if? What would be the story that they would tell about your life? Would you have done any of the things you really want to do? Would you be the person you really want to be? Or would you just be the accumulation of the things you thought you were supposed to be, to do, to say, to think? Are we, like Ivan, so committed to the story the world tells us that we never stop hustling, self-caring, grinding, partying, accommodating, impressing, appeasing enough to see that whatever it is that we are chasing is not actually delivering on its promises? You know, Ivan was really good. He was so good at chasing after all this world promises that when he doubted, when he felt happy, when he felt out of control and anxious, he just doubled down. He thought he must not be doing something right, so he worked harder, made more money, spent more money, partied harder, planned the events of the year, and invited the richest and coolest people in town. He bought thicker and more ornate curtains, which was apparently in 19th century Russia the height of self-care. He was spinning every plate he could, juggling it all, hoping with that last devastating last straw hope that this would finally work, that it would finally make him happy. So here's the takeaway. Ivan doubted his ability more than he doubted the story he had been told. He just kept trying harder and harder and harder. And isn't that so devastating? And isn't that so familiar? What if he had said, I've tried enough. This promise is a lie. This story the world tells me, it doesn't work. I'm going to try something new. Why do we always doubt ourselves before we doubt the story, the lies? My friends, we have done enough. It is time to try something new.